You can solve an equation, a quadratic equation, by factoring using the quadratic formula, taking the square root of two sides, and also by graphing and by completing the square. And completing the square is used both to solve equations as well as to get the equation in a form that you can recognize parts of a general equation. And the general equations we're going to be looking at are going to be conics, such as a circle, ellipse, parabola, and hyperbola. So one thing that you have to think about is make sure that the quadratic is in a form that's 1x plus bx. And once you get it in the form that's 1x squared plus bx, then you're going to take the middle term, the b, and divide by 2 and square. And when you divide by 2 and square, that will allow you to complete the square from the left side to the right side. Let's do a couple examples to see what I'm talking about. In this question, it says solve by completing the square, and so this already has a coefficient of 1. I'm going to look at that b, so it's in this form, x squared plus bx, and I'm going to divide the b by 2 and square, so it becomes x squared plus 8x. I'm going to divide by 2 and square this. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Squared is 16. So 8 divided by 2 and square it. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides. And what I want to do is have it in the form where it's minus 20. So the 20 should be on the right side. I'm going to add 20 to both sides to get there. And then I have to add 16 to both sides. So I added 20 to get it in the correct form. And then I added 16 on both sides. Now when you do that, you should be able to complete the square. And you would see that if you multiply this through, x plus 4 times x plus 4, you get what's above it. Now I can take the square root of both sides, and when I do that, I get plus or minus 36, which means x plus 4 equals 2 cases plus or minus 6. If it's positive, the answer is 2. If it's negative, the answer is going to be negative 10. Now, on this case, I'm going to want to get this coefficient as a 1 first. I'm going to divide through by 3. G squared minus 4g equals negative 4/3. Notice how I leave a space here. I leave that space because that's what I'm going to be adding in that number. Dividing negative 4 by 2 and squaring, whenever you square, you're going to get a positive number. So that's going to be plus 4 on both sides. G minus 2 quantity squared equals, let's see, this is going to be 12 8/3. And now when you take the square root of both sides, so your solution for G is going to be something that looks like this. And you could multiply by radical 3 over radical 3 to simplify that. Anyway, that's to complete the square. And really, really important in the conic section is to know how to complete the square accurately. And the reason why that's important is because then you can find the important components of each conic. And each conic is going to have a general equation.